1140 The Fan. Talkin Money.
And the action continues on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
All right. How are you? Hour two of 2. We start at 9 o'clock. We expect you to be on time. I think next Saturday we're kind of shooting for maybe doing another live show out from one of the local open houses. We're working on that this week, so we'll see. We might be out in the field. Last time we did that, it didn't work out so well. I found out that our unit was talking Spanish and theirs was talking Japanese, and we were not going back and forth. So we were getting every other gibberish word out of the system. I think we got that worked out, but it is radio, so I could be wrong.
That's right.
I mentioned before the break there, 339-1140 if you want to jump in, or text us at 44-1140. I mentioned before the break that the U.S. Treasury collected $180 billion, with a B, billion dollars in taxes and other revenue last month, the highest May tally since 2006, and the second highest on record for the month ever. So that sounds good, but the federal government spent during the month $305 billion. So that is a challenge. When you're bringing in $1.80 and you're spending $3.50, you got yourself some issues there. We were talking earlier about President Clinton and his Welfare Reform Act of 1996. We had from the 209, which I think we actually gave our texter there, our Hellwig Renegade concert tickets for next Saturday night. From the 209, he is a poli-sci major, UCD. Sent in a good text. Clearly a Democrat, believes that Clinton did the right thing in 96, believes that Obama did the wrong thing today by letting the people off the hook. There's a couple interesting things about Clinton when you look back, and I would say I probably was not a big fan of his at the time. But you look back, and there's a guy who was out for himself. But in the process of being out for himself, he didn't seem to answer to anybody in particular. He wanted to do whatever was popular, and that may have been the right thing. One of the things that Clinton did do, although he did raise taxes, which people screamed about at the time, but he raised taxes in conjunction with lowering spending. So he got a double whammy out of that. And I contend to this day that people in general don't have a issue with paying taxes. They have an issue with where the money goes, right? So if you can combine a increase in revenue, I mean, we just collected last month in May the second highest revenue for the month ever. Okay, so we don't have a revenue problem. It's the 305 that went out is the problem. So my contention is that you'll find a lot more helpful individuals and people willing to go along with some tax increases. If you show them that, hey, for every dollar we're going to bump you up in taxes, we're going to drop another dollar in spending. So we're going to get a 2-for-1 here. I think reasonable people will say, hey, I'm tired of this. I want to end it, but don't raise my other dollar and spend another $1.50.
Right.
And that was the one thing I think that Clinton did well is he recognized, hey, if I'm going to ask for more money, I better get my own house in order a little bit. And you could say, well, he was the president during the biggest .com boom in history. So what? He could have screwed that up and spent it all. He didn't. So whether you like him, you don't like him, he did have some reasonable policies that worked to his benefit. And currently, the existing president doesn't seem to follow a lot of the same rules. And I think that's irritating some of the people on the Democrat side. They're like, hey, this guy did pretty well for us, meaning Clinton, and you're not following anything he did,
right,
or anything that we were able to sell. So it's interesting. There's a little bit of fight on their own side of the aisle there. Off the text line, I use my credit card for everyday purchases because I get airline miles. Yeah, that's everybody. A lot of people do that. That's not what they're talking about, though, with the increase in credit card. They're talking about increasing credit card debt. So if you're paying your credit card off, that's not it may be an increase in spending, but they're talking about balances. They're talking about debt that rolls over the next 30 days. So I'm a total believer in using your credit card for everything, and not using your debit card for anything. And we've had this discussion. I actually had a gentleman from the FBI or the Secret Service, I can't remember which one of my clients was here, and talked about using debit cards and what a huge trouble using your debit card can be for you. And I know it's counterintuitive because you think, well, wait, Jeff, I don't want to add debt. I'm just going to take it right out of my account. And I agree with that, but using the debit card, I don't think, and many in the security industry don't think either, is the way to do it, because what you've done now is you've provided the world an open link to your account. Okay? And once the money's gone, the money's gone.
Right.
You've got to fight to get the money back. If you work with your credit card and someone overcharges your card or something like that, that ain't your money. That's Capital One's or MasterCard, whoever. That's their money. They got to fight to get the money back. You just say, hey, I'm disputing it.
That's why I think people that want to do that, I think instead of a credit card, get a charge card. American Express is the way to go.
Yeah, American Express is good, but it's not accepted everywhere.
True.
And even now, American Express, when you get your bill, will say, hey, we'll move these things over here. And
exactly.
But I'm a big proponent in using credit cards for those things and get the mileage you can. But for me, it gives me two things. It gives me a tracking for what I've done, but it gives me a way to dispute what I have not done. And instead of giving someone your debit card, which is basically, here's an open link to my checking account, and there are numbers of stories people have just been wiped out in one transaction.
Yeah.
And these little fake swipers now that you see are everywhere. I mean, you can build these. You can build these at home in your mom's basement. Apparently not too hard because they're all over the place now, and you're gone. And you have to then, go fight to get your money back. And I don't know how many of you can afford to have your account wiped out and try to work it out, but I can probably count them on one finger. Those that can do that. So, anyway, we'll come back to that some more. Here's a little change of topic, but we're on the topic of the market and doing things. This is I've been carrying this around for a while, so it's time to get into this. I'll get back to Dr. Drew here in a minute too, and also Chuck E. Cheese. But longtime Google executive Marissa Mayer was appointed the new chief executive for Yahoo this week. And by the way, not only is she going to be extremely well paid and bonused, but she's going to be a mommy.
Mm-hmm.
So she got a new job. So that go to tell you, right? I mean, most people tell you probably shouldn't apply for the new job while you're 6 months pregnant. It may be tough because she's going to be off for a little bit, I imagine. Now, I'm guessing that in the tens of millions of dollar price range, she probably could get a nanny. I'm guessing that she'll probably be able to swing that 2 or 3 nannies. But you still got to carry the baby and deliver the baby. There's no nanny that can do that for you either. So, but Marissa, who comes from Google, is the now 4th person in a row to leave Google and go take another job. Sheryl Sandberg, who left Google, is now running Facebook. Tim Armstrong is now running AOL, and Dick Costello is now running Twitter, all from Google. So I'm guessing that if you get a fairly decent job at Google, you probably get paid pretty well. But if you get a fairly decent job at Google, you probably get a fairly decent job somewhere else. So I am here to help you today. I am a giver. This is what I do. I'm going to help you pass the Google interview because it is unlike anything you've probably ever done before. And I'm going to give you some of the Google questions that the interview asks you, and then there's some questions I have the answer to because, frankly, I would have never got the answer. So clearly, I will never be working at Google. And I'm going to let these out for a little bit, too. And our text line is doing some weird stuff now. So if you're in the 530 and you're texting us, we're not getting your text. We're getting blah, 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 blah. So here you go. If you could see, these are questions from a Google interviewer, and we'll talk about some different things. There's 5 particular questions that they gave the answers to. If you could be any superhero, who would it be? What color best represents your personality? What animal are you? These are just generic questions. The online retailer Zappos has a trickier question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you? So these are different questions you might run into. Okay, so here's the one. I don't know if we can do these on the air or not. These are tough. So these are 5 Google questions. Here's one they like you to answer in person. Where is it here? We're going to read it. If you're in a blender, I have to come back.
This
to that
is
one.
actual question.
These
right?
are actual question
Okay.
from the. I'm trying to see if I can find. Yeah, I have to come back to that one. I got to read it. There's 3 answers here to the Google Blender question. But here's question number 1. What's the next number in the sequence? 10, 9, 60, 90, 70, 66.
Okay.
Right. What's the number? So, and the answer is you spell the numbers out Oh, I see. I got you. So 10 is TEN, that's 3 letters. 9 is 4 letters. 60 is 5 letters. 90 is 6 letters. So they're growing in size. So you just have to come up with an answer that's bigger than 66 in terms of numbers of letters. So they don't. There is no wrong answer. So that's number 1. So already we're probably not on Google's higher list.
No.
Question number 2. These are the Google questions for answering to be an applicant. You're in a car with a helium balloon on a string that is tied to the floor. The windows are closed. When you step on the gas pedal, what happens to the balloon? Does it move forward, backward, or stay put? So we've got a helium balloon tied to the floorboard. Okay, so we're sitting still. The helium balloon is poking right up in the air, is floating still.
Okay.
As soon as you hit the gas on the gas pedal, does the balloon go forward, backward, or does it stay still? This is your Google questions. Okay. The near universal intuition is that the balloon leans backward as you accelerate. Well, the intuition is wrong. Your job is to deduce how the balloon does move and explain to the interviewer. One good response is to draw an analogy to a spirit level. For those not so handy, a spirit level is the little gizmo carpenters use to make sure the surface is horizontal. It contains a narrow glass bubble, blah, 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 blah. Gravity pulls the heavier downward force in the light balloon against the moon roof.
It's actually called a spirit level?
Yes, I just thought it was called
That's level 2, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that one, we failed that one. Okay, well, let's see if we get one more here.
Is that on the contractor's exam?
I don't know. A man pushed a car to a hotel and lost his fortune. What happened? A man pushed his car to a hotel and lost his fortune. What happened? Oh, I know that one.
Don't know.
A man pushed his car to a hotel and lost his fortune. What board game is that? He was playing Monopoly.
Oh.
So I got one.
Okay.
So I can work in the Google kitchen. These are the questions that they're asking, because Google is not interested in your standard, I went to Harvard and I did this and I did this. Google wants to see...
Think out of the box?
Can you think outside the box? Can you think on your feet? Can we throw you off a little bit? Can you come up with something we haven't heard before? This is what Google's looking for. And quite frankly, why not? I mean, I who cares about your standard patent answer? I took this class or my brother knows this guy or this guy. They're looking for, and I'll have to read the one and come back to you on the blender, because if you're in a if you're trapped in a blender and you have to get out, how do you get out of the blender? So it talks about lying below the blades or on the side. They're just looking to throw you a little bit. They just want to see, can you think on your feet? So I think it's very interesting the type of people that they're looking for. And I pulled this up too, because many of you are out looking for jobs and job offers. So things you should or should not do when making a resume or applying to any company. This is from a book called Selling Yourself in 45 Seconds or Less. When asked to identify the mistakes most detrimental to a job interview, surveyed hiring managers said the following. Number 1, during your interview, answering your cell phone or texting somebody was number 1.
Really?
77% said that this has happened. Someone has picked up their phone and answered it, or texted somebody while you're in an interview. Probably not going to get the job. Number 2, appearing uninterested. Number 3, dressing inappropriately. Number 4, appearing arrogant. Number 5, talking negatively about current or previous employers. And number 6, chewing gum. Things you don't want to do during the live interview. Off the resume list of things you probably don't want to write down. Under the heading, did I really write that? When asked to recall the most memorable or unusual resumes that ever crossed their desks, surveyed human resources managers and hiring managers shared the following. Number 1, candidate listed the ability to do the moonwalk as a special skill.
Excellent.
I cannot do the moonwalk. So right off the bat, if the moonwalk is critical to job performance, I'm out.
I'm out. Yep.
Yeah. If we're doing a Michael Jackson summary video, I'm screwed. I cannot do it. I have big feet. I cannot do it. Number 2, 2 candidates, a husband and a wife looking to share a job, submitted a co-written poem. Okay, I don't get that one. Number 3, candidate included that she survived a bite from a deadly aquatic animal. Okay. Number 4, candidate included that he had been arrested for assaulting his previous boss. Probably not a good idea.
Probably not.
And where do you put that? Is that under skill level or things, I can type 25...
Certificates earned, that's what it is.
Type 25 words a minute.
Yes.
I'm good with getting coffee, and I kick the crap out of my previous boss.
Right.
Now, depending on who that was, that might be a skill. Candidate shipped a lemon with resume stating, I'm not a lemon. Okay, that's not a bad one. Candidate said he'd be a good asset to the company, but candidate stated he'd be a good asset to the company, but failed to include the ET in the word asset.
Excellent.
I'm a good ass. Well, again, what job are we talking about? If you're talking about one of the things out there on Rancho Cordova, one of the big box stores, you might be fine with a good ass there. Candidate's email address listed on the resume included shaking my booty as part of the address. Yeah, that is one. I'll tell you right now. I'm glad they said so. Shaking my booty at gmail.com is their address. So when you put that, so if you're going to, and this is one that I've never thought about this before. That is we get a lot of email addresses from people for their applications and things too. But you should probably have 2 email addresses: the ones you give your friends,
exactly,
and your pimp, and the ones you give the businesses. So
that actually has your name in it.
I arrive early at jefftarbell.com might be a good one, but shaking my booty at Gmail is probably not the one you want to go with there. So there you go. I am that is the sum total of my help for you today to find a job at Google or anywhere. Shakingmybooty.com is probably not the the URL you want to probably be listed to. So we have any more quiz questions? We're going to take a quick break. I don't know what's going on with our text here, or someone's sitting on their phone and texting us. You got what? Okay, we'll go. What do you got?
Okay, so Olympics coming up next week.
Yep.
I'm excited. Okay, so here's this one. There's an Olympian from South Africa that is made their Olympic team in the 400 meter and the 4x400 meter relay.
Yeah, what's his name?
Track. Oscar Pistorius.
Okay. And
there's a big reason why there's such a brouhaha about him being named to the team.
So Oscar made the South African running team, but there's some controversy behind Oscar's submission to the team. Okay,
correct.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140. We'll send you out a pair of Rivercats tickets. You know the answer to that. What is Oscar? What did he do, or what's his challenge to get on the team? And we'll take a quick break. This is Talkin Money. My name is Jeff Tarbell. That's Ken Smith, and we're going to be
right back.